Hi, today I want to talk about something that's been bothering me for a while, and it has occurred a number of times in the last X number of years. Yes, I know it's true that language is changing, as language is evolving all the time and becoming something different from what it was. But what happens when language is not meant to be insulting, but it comes across that way? For example, last night I was working, I was in my cab, and there were three boys. Oh, they must have been in their early 20s or so I guess you could call them men. But two of them got in the back, and then the third one was coming along, and he had a drink. Well, like this one, sort of, but it was gin rather than whiskey, and I think it was mixed with something else. It smelled pretty vile. He says, "Hey, can I bring this along?" But he didn't say it that way. "Hey, homie, can I bring this along?" he says. And I feel like, "No," I said, "no." "Oh, okay, it's cool," he says. Fine. Homie. What? This is supposed to mean friend or pal or something like that. But to me, it just means, you're equating me with someone who sings rap music, and I'm sorry, I don't do that. Then they got in. So we're driving along, and then one of them asked me to turn on the radio. But he doesn't just say, "Turn on the radio." He says, "Turn on that radio, bitch." Now, I don't think I resemble a female dog, or why do you have to disrespect me like that? Why does anyone have to? And I said, "Oh, come on, that sounded kind of disrespectful to me." And his buddy agreed and said, "Yeah, that wasn't very nice, and so he apologizes profusely and profusely and profusely. Okay, so we get to our destination, and the three of them are getting out. The one who got in the front with the drink is paying. He says, "Oh, I'm sorry about my friend." I said, "Yeah, I know, he's been drinking. I drink too. Okay, but you got to kind of watch what you're saying, And then he says, "No problem, dog." Now, first I was called a bitch. What is less disrespectful about being called dog than being called bitch? To me, I equate them. They're the same to me, exactly. So why, apologize profusely for one and then another? It's like you might as well just call me, nigger or something. I don't get it. I mean, perhaps such language is appropriate among your friends, among people that you know really well, and it's an in-joke, or you're just part of a subculture. Fine. But there is an appropriateness, don't you think? There's an appropriateness that, when you talk to people you don't know, you don't call them homie, you don't call them bro, you don't call them bitch, you don't call them dog. What is going on with that? Is it cool now? And is it acceptable to be insulting to people? I mean, I understand that the language is changing, yes, but, I grew up in a time when the language was not like that. I wouldn't speak that way to anyone my own age, or older, or even younger. I just wouldn't. It's just not appropriate. So, why do these people be compelled to do that? Damn kids these days. And you know what else is funny? The Geriatric 1927 was talking about a big generation gap happening, between the older and younger people. And I said, I hadn't really encountered that, at least with family I hadn't, because I had older family members that, made an effort to say things in a way that they were not, that they worked. And when you were a kid, you were taught to be respectful, at least in my day. You were taught to be respectful to your elders, and there was never a generation gap within my family. But, I find that there is a generation gap in public, especially when you come along like this and, some kid half your age calls you dog. What's up with that? Oh, yes, getting back to Geriatric 1927, he said that there is a generation gap, but in order to bridge it, he made a comment on my video, and he said in order to bridge it on the part of the older people, it requires some effort. Well, you know what? I think it requires effort on both sides, especially in public. In private, fine, you can disrespect each other all you want, but not in public. So I guess there is a generation gap of some kind happening here, because my generation doesn't talk that way. Maybe theirs does. Anyhow, I'll leave that with you, or you can bounce it back to me, or whatever. The idea for this particular little vid came up when I was talking about that very subject, or about that incident with another customer of mine, who might even be watching this as I put it up. Anyway, take care, have a good day. Love you all.